No. How could you do this? Maybe it'll happen here. Oh yeah, there you go. Proceed to the top. I keep thinking it's still gonna do that from the front door because that would make more sense. If you want to skip loading screens, why not skip all the loading screens? But it's like, nah, go into the lobby or else. Alright, well, let's try to make this thing stop consuming souls. Well, trapping souls, more accurately. Aldhelm looks much more worse than before. His rotten flesh hangs loosely and sores have eaten away patches of skin at his joints. He looks at you with a strange glimmer in his eyes.
Flesh.
He takes a tentative, scuttling step towards you. He doubles over, coughing up strings of black bile. He seems to have forgotten about you for the moment. Dude, I was here like 10 minutes ago. How often do you have to eat people? That's totally where they, that's totally the premise of all of those, prisoners. I'm trying to think of any word I was happy with. The captives that Acantha had, is that you probably could have tricked them to coming up here, considering the context here. But the fact that he's already decayed is strange. A jagged Adra pillar rises in front of you, encased in stonework and run through with the copper veins. The panel is covered with runes, which you can now understand. You recognize words for end and for hold. The dial is currently fixed on hold. You can also recognize, by an inscription, that the manner in which you turn the dial is a means of throttling the device. So choose end, or maximize the machine's throttle in hopes of overloading the device. I would like to not die in an explosion. Probably doesn't happen, but I would like to not destroy all those souls, just as a general rule. I'm not against destroying the machine, but it's full of souls that we will lose, apparently. So, end. As the command words leave your lips, the dial sinks into the Adra under your hand. Something like a thunderclap sounds overhead. The glow fades from the machine as it falls dormant. Neat. How you feeling, buddy? Let's enter attack formation, just in case.
Still and silent. It's finally over. Still and silent. It's finally over.
Do I need to attack you? What do I do about this situation? Because he's still going to try to eat people, isn't he? Well, he said that he would do it at... He says that he regrets eating people and so on, but that he'll keep doing it as long as he needs to in order to prevent this... to end this tragedy. So the fact that it's turned off should mean that he'll stop doing that? I don't know. Quest complete, though. Oh my god. 4,500 experience. Wow. We're just racing through these levels lately, huh? So I guess the idea here is we're learning more and more about souls and the gift. Not the gift, the legacy. We're learning more about souls, Wadwin's legacy, Engwithan ruins that involve soul capturing. And this is all related to the fact that I have an awakened soul. Not necessarily an awakened soul. Aloth has an awakened soul. I am a watcher. Like, this is all building some kind of core narrative. Oh. Dunryd Row Messenger. Beg your pardon, I have a message for you. You are summoned to Hadret House, where Lady Webb wishes to meet with you as soon as possible. They say she's an ancient spider, spinning her nets throughout the city. He gives you a careful look. If she wishes to see you, that either bodes very well or very ill. How did you know where to find me? Well, it's Lady Webb. She knows everything. Tell me about Lady Webb. Do you not know Lady Webb? She's, well, no one's seen her exactly in a long time, but she's the mistress of Dunryd Row. She has been for as long as anyone can remember. He pauses, eyeing passerby with suspicion. What passerby? Oh. So he shows up when something happens. Probably when I get a certain reputation in the city. And so the fact that he's showing up here is like story breaking slightly, because there's no passerbys to eye. We're in Heritage Hill. Everyone is dead here. Quietly he continues. She's supposed to be old. Older than anybody. And she never leaves her room. Some say she's wasted away, and she's just a pile of bones kept animated by dark magics. She's still at it, but best anyone can tell. Learning things, keeping us safe, pulling the strings behind the throne, too. It's said. Has a ring of ciphers doing her bidding, telling her everything that goes on. You do wrong in this country? Before you go asking the gods for forgiveness, best you ask Lady Webb first. What's Dunryd Row? A whole mess of ciphers run out of Hadret House. They make it their business to keep the peace, but they don't like you to see them do it. Problems in this city have a way of going away on their own, and when that happens, you can make a pretty good guess as to why. Where can I find Hadret House? In Brackenbury, my lord. The southwest corner. You'll find the lady upstairs. Very well. It's a main story mission, though. It seems to be a main story mission, but it seems to be triggered by something else. Yeah, I'm now a hero in Defiance Bay. Moderately good. I'm guessing that reputation gain, which could be from any combination of things, is probably why he showed up. And that's probably why his dialogue doesn't match the location we're in. Atmospheric audio is freaking out a little bit. Reminds me of PT, the way that the audio would cut in and out on purpose. But it kind of just happens at random in this game. Like there's too many audio layers running at once. Okay, she's gone. Creepy. What do you suppose that means? Is he dead? Is she dead? Did the spell end for her? Other guys still seemed coherent before. The tower. It's off. Does this mean the curse on Heritage Hill is lifted? Defiance Bay owes me. I'd better get a manor in Brackenbury for this. Well, that's not for me to decide, but I'm sure the city will see that you're well rewarded. Just pointing out, I'm kicked some serious ass. Somebody better fucking be paying attention. Goddamn. Alright, so that's why that area... When I first cleared the area, why the quest felt underwhelming. It's because slightly later in the story, or even technically earlier in the story, if I had not been actively avoiding the Wedeka Temple, I would have discovered that I needed to find some tower, which happened to be there. So that's where the more natural progression towards the climax would have occurred. Sort of. Are you also a memory? As you near the apparition, you were overcome suddenly by a powerful anxiety that sits like a stone in your stomach. The feeling is not quite real. The recollection of an emotion, rather than the emotion itself. It wrenches your insides, nevertheless. The apparition's brow is tensed, a look of concern playing across his face.
The other missionaries say you have been neglectful of your duties.
They lie.
They speak out of concern for you. Now tell me, is there something to their concerns?
The pain in your stomach deepens, and you feel for a moment as though you were going to be sick. Your mouth has gone dry. Forgive me, Eminence. I wish to leave the order. The man folds his fingers together and presses them to his mouth, thoughtful.
You have been an apt student, and your convictions have inspired those around you. May I ask what has changed to make you feel this way?
The people we intended to convert. They committed unspeakable acts, sacrifices, mutilations. The apparition exhales slowly, and its lips press together, a sympathetic report in its eyes. It places its hand on your shoulder. Why is it all ungendered, I wonder?
These are the ways of the heathen world.
Surely the gods would do better to destroy us all and start anew.
Perhaps they would. It may come to that one day. This is why we must not fail. The heathens are beyond the gods' reach. They do not know better. We are tasked with delivering them to the gods, so that the gods may heal their souls.
Is such a thing possible?
I have seen it with my own eyes. You will see it too, if you choose to remain. There is no greater calling than the one we have chosen. Neither words, nor wealth, nor battle will end this suffering. Only the gods. Will you give them that chance?
The knot in your stomach seems to loosen all at once, and the anxiety is replaced with something else entirely, something warm and soothing, and it is something you know you can never repay. As the vision fades, you start to become cognizant of many odd looks aimed in your direction. Your last response echoes in your mind. I will. Alright, I'm inclined to think that I'm probably not that man. But I think my soul was in his organization in a previous life.
How do you do?
Excuse me, but I've been looking for you. You're the one who lifted the curse on Heritage Hill. My lady, who wishes to remain anonymous, has entrusted me with bringing you this pistol. It belonged to a dear friend of hers who was lost to the curse. For your part in reclaiming Heritage Hill, my lady wishes you to have it. Here, may it serve you well in battle. Thank you. She bows. You are quite welcome. Now, I must be off. Farewell. Huh. People are getting good at finding me, apparently. A pistol. High damage. Plus 10 accuracy granted to an ally attacking the same target. 25% shock damage. I like the idea of giving other people more accuracy. Wonder if I should just give this to Aloth. His wand is garbage. Kind of thinking, why not, right? Does Aloth have a wand-specific ability? more accurate against further enemies. Yeah. I don't think he has a reason not to use a pistol. And having him give Sagani bonus accuracy, for example, would be nice. Or it says anyone attacking the same target. It doesn't even give a range limit. It does say an ally, so I assume it only applies to one of them. But when everyone's focus firing, someone's gonna have plus 10 accuracy, which seems like it's worth it. Better than having everyone run around with generic quality wands that have no particular appeal. Because of course she already has her own unique weapon to work on. It'd be really a bummer if I didn't stick with these scaling, progressing, leveling up legendary weapons on the characters I give them to. Because, you know, they can't give it to anybody else, can I? I guess you can. You can sever binding, which I think means you could give it to somebody else. But that would be so much wasted progress. I'm quick saving real quick just to make sure that doesn't do it. Sever binding. Are you sure you want to sever the binding between Sagani and One-Eyed Molina's gold-fingered spike flinger? What a fantastic, stupid name every time I read it. All abilities have been awakened on the One-Eyed Molina's gold finger. Yeah, you just have to say it twice. It's so hard to say, too. One-Eyed Molina's gold-fingered spike flinger will be lost. No. Okay, so yeah. So you can reset it on somebody else if you really want to. Not really recommended. 9 out of 25 on stunning people. Right, you're using... I haven't given you a better weapon. I'm so sorry. I was focused on learning you, and also I spent so long making upgrades that episode that I, you know... Probably Whispers of Yenwood. Raises become hits. Bonus against spirits, which is not great, but whatever. Ooh, -3 will is kind of a bummer, though. It is the final stat, though, not like other stats. So it's not devastating, and +2 constitution and stuff like that's pretty good. The bonus against spirits is kind of wasted, maybe. One of my only unique weapons of that tier. And 30% of grazes becoming hits between these two different items. I don't know. I suppose it's somewhat determined by whether or not I want to stick with having a sword and shield or a two-handed weapon. I suppose that's part of it. Flail's probably better. There we go. Back to a familiar weapon. Oh, Whispers of Yenwood's a one-handed weapon. She can dual wield. Da-da-da-da-da-da, which nobody in this party is right now. Yeah. My other dual wielder is my druid. Eh? Is there something else to do? Maybe I will specialize in that. I'm curious. What I find interesting is the fact that this is a full attack, which means she'll use both of her weapons. So that bonus could be pretty nice. Fine. I can enchant it with accurate 2 and damaging 2. But I can't enchant it with exceptional, which is those things combined, because it requires... Oh! Just requires a brain. I can do it. Because, yeah, we're... Okay, I just gotta get that brain. And how about you? Same goes. I just gotta go buy 2 brains. Oh, and a ruby. If I have 2 brains and a ruby, then I can make both of her weapons exceptional. Which would be nice. I also might want to make a number of different weapons exceptional at this point that we're not able to do so. Yeah, like yours is fine. So I'm going to want a lot of rubies. Oh, that requires 2 brains and 2 rubies. Yep. Going to want a lot of them to be better. Whereas you have a special, yeah, auto-scaling one, which means it can't be enchanted. Not that I really want to, because it's already higher level than everybody else's items. Let's hear what it goes. We'll just see how she performs. Not that I can... it's really not great feedback, though. I can't tell how anyone performs half the time. With a lack of, like, DPS meters or any real feedback. It's really hard to actually have a sense of how much damage did that guy do during this fight, and how much healing did they do, and so on. There's no DPS meters or, like, Overwatch cards or whatever to give me context. Best I have is this nightmarishly dense feed where I'd have to do like some real number crunching and investigation to turn that into anything that I can process as a person. So it's hard to be super sure. I just kind of make decisions that I think might help out, and we find out the hard way if they worked. By which I mostly mean we eventually lose. And then I have to figure out which thing is the reason I'm losing. Lady Webb will see you now. Yeah, it would appear that she is in fact not a spider. Also, nobody has seen her before in years. They've never looked in the door when it opens. It's only one door between everybody else and her. You'd think somebody would have seen her. This woman clutches a thick stack of parchment with spindly, wrinkled fingers. Their flesh stretched thin to near translucence with extreme age. A gossamer veil over pale blue veins. Ink splotches and candle burns dot and stripe her hands like a quilt patterned after some great, indescribable truth. She does not look up from her reading.
So, the messenger conveyed my summons. A miracle that would make the reincarnation of Aothis look like a child's cantrip, surely. It doesn't draw the most inspired minds, messaging. They failed me so many times of late, I nearly sent a cipher after you instead. So this is the Watcher who took over Cad Noir. Oh, don't look so surprised. It isn't an attractive expression. I wouldn't be where I am for long if I let details like that escape me.
This is exactly what I would picture Eloth's mother to be like.
Since then, as I understand it, you entered a quarantine district that is absolutely off limits to all civilians and somehow managed to walk back out with your life. What could possibly have been on your mind to make you do such a thing?
I'm investigating a strange group.
Strange does not begin to describe them. The practices of the Leaden Key defy all reason. You're not the only one with an interest in their recent activities. I've lost 4 ciphers this year alone trying to get someone inside their ranks. As it is, we only have our suspicions about who is in the group and what they intend. Which I suppose means we have much in common with them. I asked you here because I wanted to know what your interest was in all of this. I thought perhaps we might help each other. Why are you looking for the Leaden Key?
One of their members caused my soul to awaken. I need him to reverse it. She closes her eyes, and the lids flicker. Then her face goes still, and her mouth parts. Little more than a sliver, and her hand briefly drops open, spilling some of her parchment to the ground. The pages wafting around her legs like the leaves of a dying tree. Her fleshy eyelids peel back, and her gaze is immediately upon you.
The gods are cruel, I'm afraid. The man you seek is Theos Ix Arcanon, Grand Master of the Leaden Key. One of the most elusive and dangerous men Eora has ever known.
How do you know I seek Theos?
Because you have seen his face, and that makes it a simple matter for me to see it. You even happened to catch him in his ceremonial garb, it seems. It must have been a special occasion.
What can you tell me about Theos?
More than most, though very few would know so much as his name. And there is no way of knowing how much of what I've read is true. The Leaden Key dates back more than 2,000 years. If rumors are to be believed, Theos was the one who created it. What scraps of evidence exist suggest that he has died many times, only to be reborn each time exactly the same man, awakened during adolescence with all the knowledge and experience of all his lifetimes. The plots he orchestrates sometimes take hundreds of years to bear fruit. Needless to say, this is not the natural order of things. But he is said to be one of Woodica's favored, and that old bat was never one to let rules get in the way of favoritism. That may also explain another supposed gift of his. His body is no boundary to his soul, and he is known to take possession of others, if their souls are weak enough. Often it is for elaborate deceptions, but sometimes he simply forces them to kill themselves. He is not known for his generous supply of pity. He is also not one to show himself in any but their most critical matters. If he has directly involved himself in whatever the group plots now, it may be your only chance to find him. And once you do find him, if you can find him, I would not hold my hopes too high if I were you. He is a driven, single-minded man. He will not have the slightest concern for your problems.
How do you know so much about Theos?
The same way I come by all my knowledge. Exhaustive research, spying, bribery, perhaps some less savory measures. Whatever the knowledge demands, I pay in full. There is nothing of greater value. Unfortunately, with Theos, there is also nothing more scarce. He has covered his tracks far too well. His manipulations of the course of history are lost to time now, though I believe they were many.
What else is there to know about the Leaden Key?
Precious little, I'm afraid. You may know much of it already. No one member knows the identity of more than a handful of other members. They are kept in the dark of missions they are not involved in, or sometimes of those they are involved in. They exist to hide secrets they themselves don't know, if you can imagine how gullible someone must be for that to appeal. Despite that, they are very good at what they do, owing much to their founder, who will take matters into his own hands when necessary, and he does not fail.
They're like the exact antithesis to the other faction that's in town that's all about secrets and trying to uncover as many of them as possible. Alright, so we seem to have been introduced to what I would assume is the core villain of this game, which I don't think I've ever known about until just now. I've essentially never known what the plot of Pillars of Eternity was, which is weird to think about. And it's also weird to think about that, like, 40 hours in, I'm essentially learning the plot of this game, because until now I was just, my soul has been altered. Let's go adventuring. This is my first hint, but that was partly due to my own choices to linger. But yeah, even though I've played some of this game before, I kind of never knew that much about the plot. So the villain is some guy who, every time he is reborn in a new body, the way that everybody else is, during his adolescence, he just regains all of his past memories, and he awakens all of his personalities, and he just takes control, and that particular person just ceases to exist, essentially, or is consumed amongst all the other rest of his personality and his history. And so he's just up to no good, doing all these naughty things the way that somebody can when they're functionally immortal, which is what he is. I'm just trying to remember whether or not I saw him in the beginning of the game or not. Because, like, I could almost see a plot twist being like, oh my god, I'm him, but that'd be weird, because I'm not a child at the very least, so I'm a little late to being awakened. And the idea that I would be semi-awakened by a completely accidental ritual that I happen to walk in would be really strange. So it's probably not something like that. It's probably just that I have a previous soul that was involved in one of his organizations in the past, because many, many, many people would have been if he's been doing it for centuries or millennia or whatever. But I'm just trying to remember whether or not it showed his face at the beginning of the game. Because if he was the guy in the beginning of the game that did that ritual that did that to me in the first place, then it would have shown his face as a portrait, most likely. But I don't remember anyone being a portrait ever except for my party members, but that might have not been such a clear, observable trend that early in the game, so it might not have stood out to me as like, oh look, a portrait. Because back then, I hadn't met that many characters yet. I don't know. But he's a naughty boy, and we gotta go stop Corypheus, you guys. What do you want from me?
Keep me informed. The Leaden Key has been busy lately, and that is distressing news. I can only guess as to what they intend. You seem to have a knack for turning the stones they've crawled beneath. Keep turning them. Dunryd Row will not stop you. Whatever it is they're up to, figuring it out will be of great use to both of us. In your case, it will surely point you to Theos. In return, I will share our knowledge with you as we learn it, and provide you with what assistance I can.
Very well.
If you find your trail has run cold, come to me with whatever you have. There is much I may be able to do for you.
I don't have any reason to see her as a malevolent force. In fact, she's referred to as the person that makes problems go away in this town at times. And since I'm trying to fight, or at least track and understand, a secret organization that's very hard to do anything with, having an intelligence character who has these kinds of resources might be one of my best options, so I think I need to cooperate with her. But there is a power imbalance, and she can use me and keep stuff from me, and while getting secrets from me, and seemingly helping me, but keeping the big stuff away from me, potentially. So gotta be mindful of that, too. There is something I can tell you about the Leaden Key's operations.
Well, let's hear it.
The Ingwithan Tower in Heritage Hill contains an ancient machine that can control the flow of souls. The Leaden Key activated it.
This is troubling. That civilization seems to have known more about the mechanics of souls than anyone since. The Leaden Key was born in that period. It may be that Theos has full knowledge of their technology. The applications of this machine you speak of, I don't want to think about it. If we can learn more about their goals and methods, perhaps we can get the palace behind us. With Avar's support, we may be able to put a stop to this.
That's all.
Yes?
Oh, we can ask more questions. So she didn't know about the machine either. Leaden Key activated on purpose. There was a strange robed figure with knives. Apparently, Theos is so old, he predates the extinction of that entire kingdom. That would explain why he'd be able to use the tower. It also means he has distressing capabilities that nobody else can even predict or match, because we don't even understand what the machines can do, let alone how to use them or where they are. It also might open the door to some kind of reveal that, like, maybe he's the reason why they all died out and seem to be all gone. Maybe he even consumed them all. Ooh. Tell me more about Dunryd Row.
All the things there are to know in this world, and you ask me about work. Deerwood is a rebel country. Conflict is in its blood. If you think a few guards posted in our cities keep chaos at bay, you are very new to town indeed. We are Deerwood's cipher investigators, of course. But what we really are is its last barrier against anarchy. People are more at ease when they believe they are watched over by someone more enlightened than they are. It pacifies them. So that is the image we foster. And we do try to be enlightened for their sake. The knowledge we gather here is Deerwood's standing army in many ways. We learn what's vital and we act on it while Deerwood sleeps, blissfully unaware of the terrifying truths all around them. I wish I could tell people the things I know sometimes, but the truth is I don't think many of them could bear it.
How did you come to be here?
Me? I started this place, in a different time, under a different duke. I impressed the Duke with my research and my work ethic, and he became possessed of the notion that I would be ideal to lead a secret network of gifted investigators. I don't know how such an idea got into his head.
She winks. So she's a cipher, and she incepted the idea. How old are you? She gives a half-hearted gasp and covers her mouth with her crumpled fingers. You wicked man, where are your manners? Were you raised without a shred of decency?
I lost count ages ago. Such a strange thing to celebrate, getting closer to death. Oh, I've had my share of work done to prolong my existence, if that's what you're wondering. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not done here. There are things I still wish to learn, and I'll be the effigy if I let Berith carry me off before I'm through. There was a time when I considered enlisting the theorems of Pondgrum to extend my life indefinitely. I found the thought of devouring my political enemies to sustain my own life greatly appealing. I must have gone soft with age.
Theorems of Pondgrum. So that's how you become a ghoul. But she's not one still, but she's still done something to extend her age somehow. Which probably still involves some kind of animancy. Are you psychic?
If you are hoping I can look at your hand and tell you whom you should marry, you can just wipe that notion from your mind. I do not know what will happen tomorrow. That is what I pay spies for. Being a cipher is not unlike being a watcher. You notice more about what is already there. Many can hold an object and know where it's been, or peer into the thoughts of people around them. They can also sometimes affect those thoughts, but that would be unethical, of course. A tiny, talented few pick up so much about the world around them, they can get images of things to come, but these are fleeting and unreliable.
You said you don't know what will happen tomorrow.
Who said I was talented? I don't. At least not that I can trust. And with me, it's only ever about one thing anyway.
What's that?
A quiet day at home.
Is there a Lord Webb?
There was.
What happened to him?
He believed in dying with dignity. He was old-fashioned that way, my husband. We saw the world very differently, he and I. But he was good to me while he lasted.
Very well.
Try your best not to die out there.
Well, she seems nice. She even has a sense of humor, which it doesn't happen too much in these kinds of settings necessarily. Nah, well, there's Hiravis and a few others. Part of me wants to think like, she can't be that bad. She has a sense of humor. Villains never have senses of humor, except for the certain really, really bad ones. I'm guessing that, Theos doesn't have much of a sense of humor, for example. He seems very self-serious. There's also maybe never a surprise anymore. Where she put up this whole pretense of like, a man asking me my age? How uncouth. So I guess I probably investigate these three things, then I incorporate those three pieces of information back towards her, and then that becomes information that she works with. That would be interesting. It might be about time for me to go back to... yeah, back to my base. I have to do... I have more floors of the, Old Nua to go down. And I also have this thing going on back there. And I've also got a time limit thing. But that's still 3 more days. Still, wasn't there one more quest that was still here in town? That's Deerford. Yeah. The Leaden Key acolyte showed me a vision of an agent in a place of misery and madness. I need to find this agent and discover his or her plan to see if it holds any clues to finding the man I'm searching for. The Leaden Key acolyte showed me a wealthy neighborhood that also had misery madness. Okay. That's clearly right here. So that's convenient. How about we have a little look-see? But how would I narrow down who the... because this is the madness place, this is Sanitarium. How would I narrow down who the Leaden Key acolyte is? I never thought I'd be taking orders from a talking statue. Outmer?
Welcome.
A bald man with a crooked nose gestures in demonstration over the still body of a patient before a small gathering of interested onlookers. Feeling her gaze, he pauses his discussion. Have you come to sit in? I'd like to know more about the Sanitarium. He gives you an eager nod. It's the mission that attracted me here. The treatment of the disturbed. No one else seems to care about them. Here, they've worked wonders for them. I've seen people cured of insatiable hungers and uncontrollable urges. I've seen the crippled walk and the dysphoric smile. All within these walls. The thought that the Duke could put an end to it with a single order. It keeps me up nights.
Hail and well met.
What is it you do here? Close as we are to the Confronting wilds, we get a number of Biowak maimings every year. Survivors dealing with complications from exposure. This fellow here is a severe case. His essence is a mere whisper of what it was. I am early in my research, only beginning to understand how they work. But in time, I hope to find a way to protect people from the storm's effects. It's weird how every time I ask a question it does end dialogue and I have to click on them again.
Hello.
That's just not normal. Do you know anything about awakenings? I'm afraid that's not my area of expertise.
Hello.
Interesting. I think I think because he was talking to the people automatically, I just kind of thought that was all he did, and just didn't try to talk to him before. I remember reading his other dialogue, his demonstration, but I never talked to him directly. You're welcome to browse. The spread of knowledge is a healthy thing, don't you agree? Ooh, I don't know if animancy stuff should be recklessly thrown around. Maybe you can help me narrow it down.
Good day to you.
You may have a member of the Leaden Key in your midst. Ethelmore groans and the stone around him shudders. I could have done without hearing that today. Many have their intrusions been into our affairs. Of course, one can seldom be certain whether they've meddled or whether calamity has struck on its own. But a few of their less skilled infiltrators have been exposed from time to time. They are a perpetual nuisance. Once again, I am reminded of how envious I am of your gifts. I suspect they would be of some use in verifying one's identity. You are at odds with the Leaden Key as well, I take it. They're up to something, and I'm trying to determine what. They are always up to something. Of that, you may rest assured. If their plots have come to involve you, you have my sympathies. Do you have some idea of who this person might be? It would be unwise to consider anyone above suspicion. Very well. In that case, I would recommend you speak first with our resident animancers. They have frequent interactions with both patients and colleagues. You'll find them up here or in their offices downstairs. You will report anything suspicious to me immediately. This is my only request. Does anyone here know anything about awakenings? There's an animancer on the lower floor who came all the way from Revua to study them. Take the stairs down and look for Belisige. Yeah, that's the Aloth's dialogue. We're past that at this point.
Greetings.
No new dialogue with that animancer. Weird. This animancer straightens his robes and gives you a nod. We see quite a few Brackenbury locals for treatment. It helps fund our research. Feel free to look around. You might be able to see a demonstration. Here we study the soul and all the ailments that can affect it. It's going to be someone downstairs. If it's going to be someone downstairs, there's only like 2 candidates. It could be the guy that seems to maybe have a ghoul in their trunk. I was trying not to escalate things by opening it. But they might be a Leaden Key acolyte, which would be more distressing. It's probably not Belisige because I need her for Aloth's quest. Sanitarium, but I am busy. I seem to have misplaced my notes. Whoops. Modred.
How do you do?
I'm looking for an expert on awakenings. I hear that Valian woman studies them. You should go talk to her instead. Has anything unusual been happening around here? You must be joking. This is a sanitarium. Nothing is usual down here. He pauses. Although, now that I think of it, the patients seem more agitated lately. But they're Caedmon Azo's responsibility, not mine. Mildred nods, taking a deep breath. Then if there's nothing else, I'll be on my way. Caedmon Azo is responsible for the care of these increasingly agitated patients. Have I met that character? Ripley. Have I been in here before? Note from Azo. Ripley, I require more copper tubing for my next experiment. Do not requisition it from the Sanitarium stores. I don't have the time to deal with the head warden's inevitable questions. Cadman Asbo. Okay. Well, you're doing stuff against the will of the warden. That's not a good sign.
Welcome.
A young Orlan woman traces her fingers along the spines of the books in front of her. Row by row, her motions quick and skittish, like a bird's. She has not noticed you until you were nearly upon her. Oh my! You startled me. Are you supposed to be in here? What do you do here? I mostly help Master Azos set up and clean his equipment. I also keep his office organized since he's too busy to do it himself. There's nothing else, I need to go back to work. Yeah, it's just always dialogue about Belisage. So Azos probably in here, right? The other, yeah, no? I think that door was locked before, probably to stop me from killing Azo by randomly exploring or whatever and meeting him too soon.
What? Margaren's fire casts light in dark places. A simple test. That's settled.
Sneaky, sneaky. Okay. There's a bunch of creepy notes in there. That's probably important. Ah, they keep going to different inventory. These are Aorn's arrest. That's also older. North Ward patient record. Batixa, the Pale Lady. Subject is female, mid-40s. Awakened to a past life as a serial murderer, which now frequently emerges as the soul's dominant personality. Subject vacillates between violence and severe depression resulting from guilt of past deeds. Weak candidate for present research. North Ward patient record, Graham. Subject is male, approximately early 30s. Powers of speech, absent, presumably as a result of his overfragmentation of his soul. As such, he is the ideal subject for present research. However, experimentation has caused severe pain and induced panic. I have had to enlist the aid of the guards in transporting him for more recent procedures. So he's panicked and in horrible pain because of all the experimentation, and he's like, better keep going. So this guy sucks. North Ward patient record, Idelman the Midnight Man. Subject is male, mid-20s. Displays an accurate dissociation and paranoid delusional tendencies, causing anger and extreme violence. Dangers of working with the subject preclude possibility of further use in present research. At this point, it seems being a dangerous person makes you safer, because he won't experiment with you. North Ward patient record, Uskrim. Subject is male, approximately 17 years of age. Admitted for episodes of catatonia, followed by occasional violent outbursts. Initial analysis of soul revealed severe fragmentation and essence deficiency. Said deficiency all but eliminates the possibility of utilizing subject in present research. So he only seems to have one good research subject. I think I need to go back to the statue, right?
Yeah.
Someone's being very naughty. Admittedly, he's just being, you know, amoral. He's being immoral and suspicious and dangerous. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's a member of the Leaden Key. He just might be a piece of shit. Just investigating and looking for the Leaden Key may have uncovered other distressing things about this place that might not be related. But I'm gonna hope it's related, because otherwise we're not making any progress.
Hail, traveler!
I found records that Azo may be running some questionable experiments. Not maybe, is. It's admitted. Experiments. Cadmanazzo is in charge of patient welfare now. He's not authorized to run any more experiments. I am disappointed in Cadman. I had hoped he would be the one to guide your inquiry. He'll be in his office, or in the patient wards. I'm granting you immediate access so you can find him. No doubt you will wish to speak to him further on this matter, and I, for one, am curious as to what he might have to say. Tread carefully in the wards. There are a few dangerous cases. I would ask, also, that you do your best not to agitate the patients. They have enough troubles as it is. That probably essentially equates to don't talk to the patients at all. Because pretty much any interaction could potentially be agitation. But what if the Leaden Key acolyte is a patient? Well, they're pretty much a prisoner at that point, and probably not. It's probably not the best way to be infiltrating this place. Seems rather dangerous. Oh, what if the guy being experimented on is the acolyte? That'd be pretty funny. The head warden says you can go in. Be careful in there. Flesh construct. What the fuck? Why is that a thing? Frail. What the fuck is that? How many fucking flesh constructs are there? The guards just see these things and are like, yeah, it's normal, whatevs. Yeah, no, they're animancers, I guess. Distressing, though. Where is this? Books? Books. Books. I think I've already read that book. Haven't I? Nope, there it is. Should probably read the Dunryd Row book, considering I'm now being involved in them. If I haven't already. Hard to remember. These guys are just around, huh?
I'll take a look.
He's got good line of sight. He can see me. Not that I'm precisely hiding at that point. Keep your distance. Whites in the cell back there. We've had incidents when people got close. Okay. Yep, that's just an enemy type, so it's probably not the best thing to investigate right now. They're just fucking everywhere, it's creepy. Construct turns its head towards you and watches warily. I don't like it. What the fuck? I don't like this place. The crooked boards show deep gouge marks. They're spaced like folk or elven fingernails. Crooked chalk tally marks cover the surface of the table. And the proper key. One that I don't have, apparently. Ah, I can go this way. Well, it's miserable around here, that's for sure. These are all cells. Secret?
See what I can find.
You never know what you'll find. The atmosphere is just dripping. I'm thinking this is probably his office. Looks all phylactery-y. Or distressing lab. Gotcha. A round-faced, balding man turns to face you. His upper lip is pulled upward slightly by his pointed nose, exposing his upper teeth when he scowls.
What is the meaning of this?
Ethelmore told me you're not supposed to be doing any more experiments. Yes, well, Ethelmore hasn't done much good for anybody since he had his soul moved into an inanimate object, so I fail to see why I should let that sway me. If animancers all follow the commanders of their leaders, where would we be? We'd all be as backwards and willfully ignorant as the Redsurans. We would know nothing about life or death, or even ourselves. We would be lost in the dark with no clue as to why. Animancers must push the boundaries of knowledge, but you must be careful. Azo, even Defiance Bay isn't as safe for research as it once was. Surely there are other paths that don't involve risking lives.
Indeed. Many lives have been spent in such pursuits, writing treatises and poems. But tell me this, how does one verify the truth of a poem? If some philosopher stumbled across the meaning of our existence, how would we know it from a false one? These are wasted lives. In animancy there is progress. We are measurably closer to complete understanding because of our work, and that will be true until our work is complete. Who will solve Widewen's legacy? Some church? Some warrior? It will be an animancer, or it will be no one at all.
Have you tried your experiments on any other subjects? I have, yes. No point in lying about it, now that Ethelmar is involved. I asked for volunteers from our patients and had a few brave souls come forward. I was very close at one time to a breakthrough. They understood that. They understood their sacrifices would mean something. I need to know if you've seen any unusual behavior out of your patients. You're going to get a lot of looks asking questions like that in a sanitarium for the unbalanced. In truth, I have spent little time treating them since I have been reduced in my capacities. You might have luck with some of our more functional patients. They tend to congregate in the main area, just past the entrance to the patient wards. I heard you were demoted. How'd it happen? Azo's nostrils flare and he bares his upper teeth more broadly. That's none of your concern. Did one of the others put you up to this? Audmer? That smug weasel. Things went wrong. Everything. I don't know how. I'll never know. He spits on the floor as if to remove a bitter taste from his mouth. I'd like access to the North Ward. Out of the question. Those patients are in isolation for a reason. I've seen your records. I know what you're doing with them.
Those are private. You have no right.
He balls up his fist and digs his teeth into his index finger, a growl simmering beneath his breath, and a deep scowl compressing his face.
Fine. Speak to them for all the good it'll do you. I'm sure the discussions will be fascinating.
He pulls a heavy key from one of his pockets and nearly slams it down on the floor before handing it to you. Looking for an expert in awakenings. Something churns and bubbles in this tank. The copper wires and conduits are shiny. The device is warm to the touch. Back to it then. Joke's on you, buddy. I saw your records, so I already knew the whole time that you were experimenting on people. He's rather garbagey, isn't he? You were saying that the whites are in there? Seems like there's a lot else going on there, like captive prisoners that you apparently drag kicking and screaming to their torture, basically. Oh, what fun. Let's read the Dunryd Row, since we're dealing with that recently. The origins and practices of Dunryd Row are difficult to nail down. When asked, everyone seems to know how Dunryd Row started and how long it's been in operation, yet every person asked gives us a different account about its creation and a different date. No. Yep, this is the, yeah, that's the document about Lady Webb that I already read. I just didn't know at the time, so I put it back in here again. The Midwife's Memoirs. My mother lived every note of life's song. Bringing me into this world was her last verse. For this my father scorned me and abandoned me. And for this very same fact my town's midwife and adherent of Hylia raised me as her own. When I came of age, I learned that Hylia visits us on the screams of women in childbirth, and when a woman dies giving life to her child, her soul is carried away and reborn as an avian attendant of Hylia's court. Through the miracle of the Queen of Birds, my mother has been with me, watching over me my whole life. I wear the fetish charms of the cloud singer, the bird I dreamt my mother became. My feathery trinkets look gaudy and unbecoming, but it is a signal fire to women in need that I am a trained midwife, blessed by Hylia, and living every note of life's song. The Queen of Birds wills us to shepherd new life into the world, and not, as the other gods so often desire, to end it. A follower of Magran once mocked my faith, saying I worshipped paintbrushes and birds, piddling things beneath the gods. I do not resent the other gods and their brutal necessities that they must oversee, but is not language, love, the arts, and creativity that which separates us from simple beasts? Highly allows us to rise above our savage, feral selves. I am often amused that, upon seeing our holy aviaries, visitors frequently ask, "This is nice, but where's the real Temple of Hylia?" Perhaps they think hallowed ground requires oppressive stoneworks and ceilings that hide the sky. They do not realize that the Bird Queen stands not on ceremony. She makes herself manifest in the music of birds and the beauty of the ubiquitous open sky. Hylia prefers the worship of two children singing over 1,000 petitioners silently praying for victory. The Sky Mother asks so little of us, and yet so much. We are charged to live every note of life's song. It surprises me how many fail to embrace this divine calling. And the winner for Best God goes to...